Hello, I'm Glenn McGuinness, and welcome to Outburst. This week on Outburst, young people and the political process.
I think when they turn 18 and then now they can vote, I think a lot of kids don't have any idea what that even means.
I didn't know anything about voting when I was 18. I don't think I was qualified enough to vote.
Yeah, and when I was that age, I don't think I should have voted. Say at 16, I don't think I knew anything.
Youth are just getting more involved now that they're starting to realize, like, I don't have to be an adult anymore to actually say what I feel. Like, who cares about being 18 and older, or 19 and older, and being able to vote?
57% of young people voted in the last federal election, and it was a huge jump for voters aged 18 to 24. Now, candidates across the country are paying careful attention to this powerful voting bloc. An Ontario provincial election on June 7th saw party leaders responding to young citizens and youth themselves voicing their concerns.
Yeah, I vote every election that comes up.
If you do vote for someone, now you could be like, okay, I was a part of the change that made it better.
Thinking about the future in a different way that past generations used to believe.
A survey of 1,605 Canadians commissioned by Civic Action and Centennial College public relations students. 69% of millennials in the Toronto-Hamilton area plan to vote in an election. 35% have discussed political issues face-to-face. 19% have discussed political issues online. And the number one reason millennials say they aren't more involved in politics is that they don't have time, followed by no interest and no idea on how to get involved.
But the key to millennial votes is still undefined. Do they vote the same way? Do they share the same concerns? Well, we asked Canadians across the country and across age groups this question: what is the most important political issues for young Canadians?
The economy isn't supporting a lot of young people who have outstanding debts for whatever reason, and that's forcing them into decisions that aren't in their best interest necessarily.
Financial issues, you know, they have a lot of financial commitments such as post-secondary education, and that is quite a burden for them because it's really expensive.
I think students who are graduating want to find jobs, and I think they're not always out there at the level that they'd like to find them. And yet they worry about how the environment is developing and what's going to be left for their children and grandchildren.
Facing youth, I think our transition to renewable energy is huge. Student debt is huge, and another very important issue is affordability and cost of housing.
To educate the population, whether it be youth or elderly, on transgenders, gays, whatever, so that maybe we could be more accepting, more understanding, to make their way a little easier.
I think climate change, which will change everything about the economy, the planet, resources, the prosperity people can expect. There's no way that there's anything more than that.
Things regarding taxes, school prices, and most things around money is the things that my friends and I are concerned about.
Well, for me, definitely, like, I'm in nursing and school and stuff, so I definitely say healthcare. And even the schooling system is super important too.
Well, their education, the first one. And having opportunities where the work placements to show them what's available for them if they want to continue into the government offices.
You know, there really isn't that many programs for young kids or young people to guide them in the right direction, you know, so maybe more public programs or something just to keep them positive and guide them in the right direction.
Jobs, environmental issues, and education.
Sustainability is front and center. So creating a sustainable future for all the future generations.
I would think education and a secure work future would be the most important issues for them.
Right now I feel mental health is a big one, environment, and yeah, probably those two.
It would be, kind of the honesty, the truth, diversity within our nation. I think politicians at the highest level are, not being always as honest are they with us as they could be.
Turnout from the youngest voters rose 18% between 2011 and 2015. The age group above that, 24 to 35, also turned out in higher numbers. This was an unprecedented surge. And some think the voter base is ready to expand. Calls to lower the voting age have been coming from youth activists, researchers, politicians, and even party leaders. Ontario MPP Arthur Potts has tabled a private member's bill to lower the voting age in his province to 16. And BC Green Party leader Andrew Weaver has done the same. Canada's Chief Electoral Officer Stéphane Perreault has suggested lowering the legal voting age to 16 is worth considering, and it would help boost lifelong involvement in elections. Once a person turns 16, they're old enough to drive a car or even enlist in the military. So the argument may go, why not trust them to be mature enough to vote?
New research also suggests there is a trickle-up effect. Young people who vote are also likely to inspire their parents to do the same.
So, can 16-year-olds make informed and independent decisions on issues like healthcare, daycare, or balanced budgets? What about the fact that they're still under the law? Does that matter? We want to know what you think. Our question: should the voting age be lowered?
No.
Why?
I think 18 is a good time when kids finally realize what they want and finally start to understand what's going on in Canada. I think a little bit younger than that might sway some of the decisions in not necessarily a negative way. I just think there will be a lot more uninformed decisions, and as of right now the 18-year-olds, there's not a lot of people voting to begin with, so I don't think changing that to a lower age will make that different.
I think it really depends on how mature the person is, but yeah, I think it could be lowered. For sure, some people have different insights on different perspectives on things, so yeah.
And when I was that age, I don't think I should have voted, say at 16. I don't think I knew anything, so.
I don't think they would have the right mindset to make a decision like that at an age that young. I think it's good.
Honestly, I'm not sure. That's kind of a difficult question because I feel like there's a lot of 18-year-olds who don't even vote. But a lot of younger people, I guess, do have political opinions, and I do believe that those should be voiced. Absolutely.
No, because you need to have a certain amount of maturity to understand what politics is, what it's all about. So I think 18 is a good age.
I didn't know anything about voting when I was 18. I don't think I was qualified enough to vote necessarily. So I don't think it'd be necessarily a good idea in general, because I don't think I have enough experience.
No, I think it's all right at 18. I mean, I made stupid decisions at 17, so I don't fully trust 17-year-olds to make really informed decisions.
Not overly, no. I believe that if you're able to properly understand the process of our government and the way it's set out, that you should be at least a legal age of 18 before you're able to vote.
Yes, I believe it should be lowered.
Why?
Because I think that young people deserve a right to vote on decisions that affect them.
I think 18 is better because they know more than 16, 16 have no time to listen about politics.
For me, I wasn't well informed enough, even as an 18-year-old, so I think that it's fine where it is.
I would say no, because I don't think today's youth are in the know enough to be able to vote consciously.
Lowered from 18? Absolutely not. I think for the simple fact that 18 is considered as an adult, and we want to make sure that they make mature choices. I don't think that voters should be swayed by one thing or the other, be it a legalization of marijuana or any of the other factors. You know, it's the same as going into the army or anything like that. You have to be 18, you got to be 18 to drink, 18 into the military. Everything revolves around 18. If you're going to start lowering the voting age, then you have to start lowering all the other ages.
More maturity makes for better voting. Not to denigrate young people's opinions whatsoever, because they're perfectly valid. But yeah, maybe, I'm just going to say 18's fine.
No, because I think, especially what is going on with politics, it's pretty intricate in terms of things that are happening and the reasons why it is the age it is now. And, I think it needs to be a certain level till you can make that decision.
I'm not sure about yes or no, but I think if it were lower, it might engage younger people.
I think so. This is like a lot of kids are more educated and have more access to information. And I think that it's important for them to make choices too. They're a pretty large demographic. And I think their opinion matters.
At 18, there aren't a whole lot of people that know a whole lot about running the country. So I think they should be at least 20.
Remember, you can share your opinion anytime on social media. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us your stories, videos, photos, and ideas. Even if the voting age were lowered, it wouldn't be the first time. Did you know the voting age used to be 21? When did that change? Well, we took that piece of trivia to the streets of Ottawa. When was the legal age to vote lowered to 18 from 21? 1965, 1970, or 1975?
Say 1965?
1975.
1970? I think it's 65.
75. 1970.
It is 1970. You're right.
Yay!
Good for you.
Thanks.
In 1970, a revised Canada Elections Act lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. This gave almost 2 million young people the ability to vote in 1972. That year marked a tight race between Pierre Trudeau and Robert Stanfield, with the Liberals winning a slim victory. Trudeau was 53 at the time and Stanfield 58. Today, Canada faces an upcoming federal election with the youngest party leaders ever. Justin Trudeau will be 47, while both Andrew Scheer and Jagmeet Singh will be 40 when Canadians cast a ballot in October 2019.
Voting, of course, isn't the only political engagement we've been seeing from young Canadians. From demonstrations to voter registration to voicing their opinions online or even joining a political party, young Canadians are picking their issues and pushing for change. We're wondering if this is a case of the sooner the better. How can a passion for politics influence adolescents? We took this question to Canadians. How young is too young to be politically active?
Oh, I have two kids and they've come to rallies with me, and I talk to them a lot about politics. For me, it's like they are going to ask questions and you just basically answer whatever is appropriate for their age. But the curiosity is good and you want to foster that. So there's never really a too young an age.
As long as they have that sound knowledge, then I think anyone who does have that should be politically engaged.
I don't think it's ever too young to be politically engaged and know what's going on. For sure, I think that it's good to have political awareness at all ages, and so you're able to make informed decisions.
I don't think there is a lower age limit. I remember when I was in grade 8, we had a mock parliament and I was pretty involved in that, so I don't think that's too young.
If a young person wants to be engaged and they have the aptitude for it, that's all I would consider necessary.
I think it's important to start very early. I know I have grandchildren that talk politics at ages 8 to 15.
Youth are just getting more involved now that they're starting to realize I don't have to be an adult anymore to actually say what I feel.
who cares about being 18 and older or 19 and older and being able to vote? Like, if they have something that's on their mind, now they know, even young kids too, the ones who have access to cell phones, the ones that have access to social media, now they're becoming more aware, and I think that's part of also how I think politics has changed immensely in the social media stream, is because now we can see what's going on in Iran, and now we can see the people's views over there versus here, and everyone's sharing everyone's point of view.
I really think it's something that needs to be discussed in a more formal basis at high school to prepare them for when they do get to an age when they're ready to vote. That's it.
18 years old rolls around and
they don't know what to do. I mean, my kids come and ask me, who should I vote for? Well, by that stage, they should already know what's happening. So it's too late.
There's almost no minimal age when you start reading about the history of people who've been very involved in politics. It sounds like they were engaged, you know, right from, well, I don't know, age of 4 and 5 around the dinner table. So yeah, I think people need to be engaged at all levels, not only junior but also seniors.
I mean, I know age is kind of an important thing because we want to put something, but I think too young would be maybe 12 and under. But I'm again, that's very variable, so I can't really put a number to it for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like if a person like knows a lot about politics and they want to get involved, then why not? Even if they're 12 and they already have like a certain amount of knowledge and they know what they're talking about, then I don't see what the problem would be if they got involved. So yeah.
I don't think it's ever too young to be politically active. You can start teaching and start learning about politics from whatever age you can possibly be interested in it. And the younger people start learning, then the better for everybody. To be active is in making choices for the rest of the country. I do think that early teens is probably where you want to stay, like 18, 16.
we should involve young people more than maybe we're involving them now, and in classrooms and at home. And so I don't actually think there is an age that's too young. It takes time for, I think, kids to understand maybe what, but there's always a simple way to get them involved.
Yeah, I think the more involvement and awareness, the better. I don't think it matters the age.
Yeah, the understanding aspect does not come with the age. So it's about like nowadays, like a lot of social media and the internet is providing a lot of informations. Even youngsters are getting information at a right from young age. So the maturity level of people is quite high. So people should be given an expression to express their opinions. So politically, non-politically, both is fine.
I think that kids that are in even elementary should be introduced to it at some point. Because I think when they turn 18 and then now they can vote, I think a lot of kids don't have any idea what that even means. So I think that it should be earlier and maybe something that's in school, you know, elementary and junior high and high school. So
whether that's just helping with a campaign, learning about an issue, maybe becoming passionate about an issue, I don't think there's an age that is too young to become active, to be part of society, to move an issue forward, or to even bring awareness to something. And really, do we understand everyone's perspective? Why can't everyone from a 5-year-old give their perspective to a 100-year-old person?
From classrooms to conventions, young people are shaping the future of Canadian policy. This year in Charlevoix, Quebec, some of those young voices will be taking to the world stage. G7 countries have their own youth delegation, and this year, Canada's is led by Larisa Crawford, a young mother and grad student in Toronto. We caught up with her at the inaugural Youth Forum, where she spoke to hundreds of other young leaders about becoming engaged and making a change.
Hi, good morning. My name is Larisa Crawford. I am the Y7 head delegate for Canada, and so I am here from the Y7 Summit representing youth. in the G7 summit process and bringing a youth voice, bringing our interests, our needs, our concerns to the G7 to make sure that we are heard in this international policy process. So I'm very excited, mostly of our Y7 recommendation for the climate change and environment, which is calling on the G7 members to take action on protecting our water and respecting our water. This is coming directly from Indigenous water advocate Autumn Pelletier, and we got that into the Y7 recommendation. Water contamination and access to clean water disproportionately affects women, Indigenous people, racialized communities, and so doing this is really addressing a lot of environmental racism that we're seeing across the world. When I'm looking at international policy processes and who's at these tables, oftentimes Indigenous, Black, marginalized voices aren't being represented. And so that was part of the reason I wanted to come in, because I am very involved with my communities. I am very educated in both traditional knowledge and the language that they're speaking in these spaces. And so I have a very critical education in that sense. And so I feel that I bring a very unique perspective to these tables, and these are amazing opportunities to really take that activism to the next level. And I really want to see more youth doing this and really seeing themselves and seeing that opportunity and taking hold of it. I've been able to really see how our voice, how a youth voice, has been translated into a policy recommendation, which is now being presented to heads of state, which is being presented to all these leaders in all of these nations. And being able to see our voices actually being heard is so exciting. You've seen my daughter running around. This is my why. This is why I've been doing everything, and this is why I love what I do, is because I really believe that we're right now making the world a better place for our future generations like Zyra, where they can live with climate change and environment, but also creating a space where she feels protected and valued as a woman, has equal access to opportunities, feels protected, is protected from gender-based violence as we propose in our gender equality recommendation. You really get to see how you're changing the world in a very tangible way.
When candidates campaign during an election, their aim is to meet, greet, and establish a relationship with voters. Voters in turn should know the values and priorities of each candidate so they can make an informed decision at the ballot box. Candidates are looking to represent your interests no matter what level of government. But before you vote, what information would be helpful in order to make a clear choice? Our question: what should every voter know about candidates before they vote?
I want a sense of what their professional life has been, what have they done up until now, what's their history, if they've been involved in political movements or political activity before they became a candidate. Yeah, I think that's the most essential piece for me.
I don't know, their values. Obviously what they already do, like their views on certain issues, right? Would I want to know about their past? Not really. Not very much about their personal life.
So you're most interested in values then?
Exactly.
Well, anything about the party, because anyway, do we actually care about his personal ideas? It's actually what the party decide that he will follow. So he should know the main lines, main ideas of the party that he's voting for, and probably the history of the party too might affect the choice.
The person's name and their background, what type of background that they are bringing to public office. In other words, the person's personal integrity, their personal worth and skills, what they want to contribute, and how that will contribute to their holding public office. In other words, the integrity, the person themselves, what type of skills do they have? In other words, the person themselves, their own personality, their integrity, their capabilities, that type of thing. Should I have confidence in the person? That's what it comes down to.
We want to know a little bit about their policies
Not that it makes that much difference, but it does make a bit of difference, especially right now. And something about, you know, their general honesty, you know, and whether they have any intelligence or not is useful as well. Those are the things that I'm looking for.
I want to know their plan, their platform. I want to know their experience level and their overall values.
I guess their platform. What do they intend to change, keep? Yeah.
Well, obviously their platform. I want to know their background. I want to know their experience. Those are the key things for me anyway.
What kind of stuff in the background would you like to see?
Well, obviously, I want to see how they would support me. What compels me to vote for them? So obviously, their experience in politics. I want someone with, demonstrated ability to lead and to support me and my views.
Probably their past ward history, what they've voted for and against. Yeah, maybe some of their past jobs, and then, and education, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot that people should know about. So it's hard to make an informed decision.
Well, I think that they should know in general what their moral compass is. And what I mean by that is have some idea of how they view life and how they view their role in representing the constituents who have voted for them.
They should know about who is running, if they're really involved or really care for the people and the way of life and the education, in general, what the government can offer to the people, like in regards to senior, the poverty, the job, and education. All those, they should be involved. The kids should be involved.
They should have a good idea of what they're promising, as well as their history of following through on their promises.
I think they should know the whole picture. They should know what the party stands for, and how the candidates are eligible, or are they good enough to represent the the party.
What they stand for, their political platform, what they're going to do for their community specifically. Just know their beliefs and values as well.
In some ways we're overwhelmed by information, in other ways the accuracy as opposed to the standard promotion of one thing or another. So you're right, it calls for a little bit of critical thinking to analyze carefully.
Well, they should know something about the candidates and what they're running for and what they're standing for, yeah, definitely, but I say some people do, some don't. They just vote what their neighbors are doing, they don't know.
They don't put a lot of effort into it.
Put a lot into it, yeah.
Well, probably more than we usually know. But do you know what they stand for? The direction they're going, and if they really care about Canada and care about the citizens of Canada. More so than they care about immigrants. First of all, take care of Canada. Take care of all the other stuff you want to take care of.
That's all for this episode of Outburst. Like what you see? Well, you can watch more full episodes on our website at www.cpac.ca, as well as on our YouTube channel. You can find lots more great material there, and you can weigh in on the issues that matter to you the most. You can also find us through social media on Instagram and Facebook simply by searching for CPAC, or on Twitter at CPAC_TV. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of all my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Outburst.